What's happening, guys? Cap over here, and welcome to another week of the NPCC. As today we're taking on Berk, coach of the New England Patrats, and this is our last match of the 3-game mountain that we got to dig ourselves out of, because currently we're doing horrible in this thing. 2-game losing streak. Didn't perform well in the past 2 matches, and this is one of the matches that I've been really looking forward to. When I saw it on my schedule, I was like, I gotta perform well, I gotta play well. Berk, probably you guys know him. He has been on the GBA, one of the analysis. He's been in a couple leagues. He's a fantastic battler, and he's doing really well in this league too. So if there's a game where I want to bounce back in, it's definitely this one. And if you guys haven't heard of Berk, be sure to look in the description down below. You can click on it. You can get his perspective. I really do recommend that you subscribe to his channel too. And yeah, we'll talk a bit about the team that we have in front of us. So Berk has a really frightening team. He has Dragonite, he has Terrakion, he has Jirachi, Florges, aka Mod, and the Meloetta. So really solid team all around. But I was fortunate enough to bring in my pursuit trapping Scizor, and that can really put in a lot of work because I put enough speed EVs to outspeed the Meloetta if it's a defensive variant. Desui doesn't appreciate it, and Jirachi does not appreciate it. Choice Bandit Adamant actually does and has a chance of KOing the Terrakion, so it does a lot of work, and if we can get Scizor to play a big role in this match, it's going to be fantastic for us. It'll go a long way in the match. Garchomp is going to be my designated lead. Right away I knew before even planning this match, before this match even began, I was going to lead with my Garchomp because it is a Yachi Berry variant. It gets some good information. I can set up Stealth Rocks to break that multi-scale, and it puts pressure on Desui to really click Defog and allow Scizor to come in and get that free KO if it's possible at all. It's really applying a lot of pressure on his team, and that's something I figured, I'd try to capitalize on. I gotta play aggressive. The past couple matches I've been playing pretty passive, and I sort of want to bring the match to the other team, and that's what I sort of kept in mind when I built this team. As you can tell, I'm also bringing Hitmon-top, the mon that I just love so much. So much sarcasm. Hitmon-top is my only way of really taking on Terrakion, and it does take it on relatively well, plus it keeps hazards off my side of the field. I added Toxic on this thing just so it can pressure the Meloetta to go, or not the Meloetta, the Florges to go for aromatherapy. If it does have it, then it allows Scizor to go for the Bull Punch, and it sort of plays along with that pressure game going on. Snorlax is my Chopper variant. It gets some good information if it is a Choice Banded or Choice Scarfed or Sword Stance. It can potentially live those hits, so hopefully we can get that going on. Well, we got the water duo over here, the Kingdra and the Pelipper. Kingdra puts in a lot of work if we can allow it to put in a lot of work. Hydro Pump just does so much damage to his whole team, and it's something that we can always capitalize on. If there's a big threat on his team, then we click Hydro Pump, hope for the best, and hopefully we can get that going on. But let's get this match on its way. Like I said before, Garchomp is my designated lead, and no matter what he leads off with, I can either get off rocks, get off a Sword Stance, or just simply go for an attack. And that's sort of my thought process in this battle. So I think Berk sent me the challenge, so let's see. I think he's initiating the challenge. Yeah, you're challenged by Berk. Birch. Yeah, but he's gonna lead off with Meloetta, and I was like, oh, that's rather interesting. He might set up screens or something like that. As I'm gonna lead off with Less Shark over here. I'm gonna get up my rocks. That is my #1 priority. I want to get that multi-scale broken. I want to apply that pressure. So even if he does have Hidden Power Ice, I have the Yachi Berry, so I can sort of eat it up relatively well. But he's just gonna go for a Psychic, and that does a lot of damage. That is just way too much damage. Like, I'm relatively bulky, but that does way too much damage. So I'm just gonna go right to right away, starting off pretty bad. As always, the start of these battles are just horrible, but fortunately for me, I do take that Psychic relatively well. Not the best, but I pursuit trap this Meloetta, which means he tries to withdraw his Meloetta, and I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. Meloetta going down, check 1. That is a fantastic way of recovering from turn 1. Taking out Meloetta allows Kingdra to, do what I wanted to do and apply some more pressure. And right now we just gotta go right into my Hitmon-top over here, because Hitmon-top is just Hitmon-top, and that is my check to Terrakion. Every time Terrakion comes in, Hitmon-top comes in. Gets that Intimidate off, try to absorb the hit as well as it can, but He misses, which is rather unfortunate. That this is gonna matter down the road because you guys are gonna see. You guys are gonna see why it does. So this allows me to go for a toxic. I make a prediction that he's gonna switch into something like that, and fortunate for me, it does work out like that. He goes into SUI, which means I'm guessing he's gonna be pressing the defog, and either way, Scissor is my best play. It doesn't really do a lot of damage to, like, if he goes for Spirit Shackle or Leaf Blade. If he does have like Acrobatics or something like that, then you know that's pretty cool. But he's just gonna go for the defog. I've successfully pursued trapped this thing too, knowing that I do have pursuit. So I'm just gonna click on the pursuit, make sure this Desui goes down. This thing could potentially put in a lot of work down the road, so I'm just clicking pursuit. It is a roll thanks to the pursuit. No, thanks to the toxic and stealth rock damage, it's a roll, but we don't get that roll, which is, you know, it is what it is. And he's just gonna go for the Spirit Shackle. So I was a bit worried over here. Fortunately for us, we do live it. And he's just gonna go down to the poison damage. So Hitmon-top actually gets a KO over there. So way to go, little buddy. You got a KO with a little assistance, but what can you do, right? What can you do? As right now, I just got to switch out. I knew Scissor can put in a lot of work. Scissor's already put in a lot of work, pressuring the likes of his two mons that don't appreciate dark moves. And I can just go right into Hot and Fluffy, get that Hot and Fluffy action going on. That's all I wanted to do right now. And Moonblast is doing a fairly decent amount of damage, but it is what it is. And I can just click Heavy Slam. Heavy Slam is my best middle ground play, as it does a lot of damage to a lot of things on his team. And he does have the Baberi, which doesn't really matter because that's still a lot of damage. So this tells me that it's not defensive invested. It's meant to really take on the likes of Kingdra and Co. So that's always fantastic for me to know. It might be even just a specially offensive mon too. So we're just going to keep on firing these heavy slants. That does a decent amount of damage. And I figured, you know what, I'm staying in. I have the Chople Berry. This was something I had in my game plan. But even with the Chople Berry, we just eat that berry. We're like, nom nom nom, delicious. Let me eat this before I rest in my deathbed over here. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter at all. But this gives me really solid information. This is a Choice Banded Terrakion. I'm pretty sure it is. And I can simply set up my rain and go right into Pelipper, go for a U-turn, and really get the Twitch initiative on my side. So like I said before, we're going to apply pressure. We're going to keep on playing aggressive over here. And there was no point of me just going for a Scald at this point. I figured, you know, he might go into something else, or might go into his Dragonite, which is a bad situation. But we get that, we sort of get that roll, and we can go right into my Kingdra over here, which means I can potentially take off this Mon. We're looking pretty hot at the moment, but our Mons are really low. So I don't remember the score right now. I think it's like 4-6 right now. And we're looking pretty hot, but all our Mons are relatively low. He does have the play rough. And that's pretty scary because it does a lot of damage. And that could have really put in a lot of work against my team. Fortunately for me, we'll take down the Jirachi. Jirachi doesn't make a big impact in this game, which is fantastic. But we only have a couple turns of Life Orb damage in us, so that means I gotta preserve this Kingdra. Hopefully, like maybe if it comes down to later down the road, Kingdra can either take out a Dragonite, or not a Dragonite, a Terrakion, or a Florges of the variant. And I figured, you know what, let's just sack off Left Shark, break that scale. That's something that I really need to happen. And I see the extreme speed, so I thought this was a Choice Banded variant, so I was just going to go for the U-turn at the moment, going right into Pelipper, but what is this? Devastating Draco? I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Dragonite is going to go for its Z move, and this is something that was frightening off. I thought it was just going to be Devastating Drake. We get the sick animation going on, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Pelipper, don't go down. Please don't go down. And Pelipper actually eats that up relatively well. I'm a bit surprised. Way to go, Pelipper. You're a fat bird. And that's not F, or not F-A-T. That's P-H-A-T. Fat. Like hip. Like, yo, what's up? That's horrible. That's bad. So, right, I'm just going to go right into him on top. He already used his Z move, which tells me it's not Fly Zanium, which is fantastic. That means Hitmon-top can take it relatively well. And I figured, you know what, let's play aggressive. Keep on playing aggressive. He's just going to go for Dragon Dance, and I'm like, oh boy. Dragon Dance, Dragonite is frightening. So this means I'm switching out. I need to keep this Scizor. No way am I staying in. If he goes for extreme speed, that's GG. Either way, it's a bad situation for me, and Hitmon-top has to keep this thing under control. So at this moment, I'm like, is he going for game? Is he going for the game? He's only at +1 right now, or I think he's at neutral. Either way, he does withdraw, and I'm like, oh, thank God, that's a frightening thing gone. I have to go for the Toxic because that's something that I need to wear down. And fortunate for me, it does work out that he does go into the Florges. This was something that I was trying to prevent early on the days, and that's why I switched into Scizor, was because I thought he was going to go into Florges as soon as he saw him on top. And no, he just Dragon Dance. So I'm just going to switch off into my Pelipper, sack it off, because I figured, you know what, I don't need 8 turns of rain with Kingdra only being at a certain amount of HP, so let's sack this thing off. Pelipper doesn't really do a lot at this moment. It doesn't wall Kingdra, or it doesn't wall Dragonite. It doesn't do a lot to Terrakion, and all I needed to do is just pretty much fall down, which is horrible, it's sad. But this allows me to have switch initiative, and I can just go right into my Scizor and simply fire off a Bullet Punch. Right now, a couple Bullet Punches really puts in a lot of work for me, and this is what I need to do. So he switches out into Dr. Agonite, and I get a really big Bullet Punch over here. I'm showing him my fist, unlike my red big fist over there. That does a lot of damage, which is fantastic, and that means, once again, we're in 50-50 plays at the moment. The next couple turns are going to be a lot of 50-50s. It's going to be like if I switch out, if he switches out, it changes the win conditions at that moment, and I have to play really careful at the moment, because every time Florges comes in on a switch, it gets a KO. I'm pretty sure it does get a KO. Hitmon-top doesn't take it well at all, and I decide, you know what, let's sack off my Kingdra, something that I set up rain for, and we're just gonna sack it off over here, because Hitmon-top, surprisingly enough, is gonna be a big mon later down the road, and yeah, even Houdini knows it's going to be big. It's like, oh man, Hitmon-top, really? MVP? Come on, settle down there. Settle down there. At this moment, I can bring in my Kingdra, or not my Kingdra, my Scizor, and fire off a Bullet Punch, because Bullet Punch takes down something at this moment. And that's what I need to happen. Florges is pretty much going down to poison. It doesn't have aromatherapy, I'm pretty sure. And we're in a good situation at the moment. Florges is gone. We've got our Scizor over here looking pretty spiffy. And once again, I have to go into my Hitmon-top, because if he goes for extreme speed, I lose. And Dance is my only way of really winning the battle. If he'd switch into Terrakion, then, oh, we're in a bad situation, because Terrakion is a beast. So I can't let Terrakion come in for free and let Hitmon-top take a lot of damage. He does get a crit, which is, I was a bit worried, because I thought that was just normal damage, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Hitmon-top, why can't you take that hit? So I have to, like I said before, this is a 50-50. He switches out, and I do switch out too, making that prediction that he's going to switch out, and I can get in there. So I'm like, alright, cool. We're in a clear zone right now. I go fire off a Bullet Punch, I take down something, but this man has quick attack. And he gets a min roll, which is, that was a really close roll, because, yeah, that was a roll. That was a roll. And fortunately for us, we will get the K over there, and I'm like, oh boy. That was a big series of 50-50s at that moment. And even now, I still don't know what his last move is. I don't know if it's Outrage, I don't know if it's Dragon Claw, if it's Earthquake. Of course it's a Dragon move or something, but I'm still relatively nervous, because all we've seen is Extreme Speed, Dragon Dance, and what else? I'm pretty sure that's it. That's all we've seen. Earthquake, no, Dragon Dance, Extreme Speed, and I don't know what's his last move, but at this moment I'm like, alright, Hitmon-top, you need to absorb these next couple hits, because you need to land this Toxic. You need to absorb this hit. Hitmon-top needs to stay on the field for 2 turns, and that's asking a lot from Hitmon-top, which means I can't go for close combat at this moment, because it puts me in range where Dragon Claw, Outrage, or any dragon move will KO me. And I don't want that. I really don't want that. Right now he's at +1 thanks to the Intimidate from Hitmon-top. Way to go, Hitmon-top. Shoutouts to you for doing that. And I'm going for Rabbit Spin over here with no rocks. That's how swaggy we are. Just showing off those spins over there. Hitmon-top. You're still just a piece of garbage. Just going like that does barely no damage. So thankfully now that's enough damage for me to actually KO it with close combat and the poison damage. And we do take that hit relatively well. So Hitmon-top bringing back this game to the Toronto SwaBlu Jays, and we'll pick up a narrow 2-0 victory over the New England Patrats. GG to Berk. That was a fantastic battle. That was a battle that I really lots of twists and turns, even when I was playing this game in real time. Oh my gosh, it's only like a 13-minute video, but this battle in real time was just, oh my gosh, so suspenseful, so intense, so close. Even the replay doesn't fully justify all the 50-50s in this game, because just towards the end there was a lot of 50-50s where it could have gone his way, it could have gone my way. It really depended on what happened at that moment. So this was one of the matches that just rejuvenated my love for Pro1 and how it can be a really competitive and fun game without the hacks over there. And it just comes down to rolls, and it just comes down to putting yourself in a better situation over there. So that'll end our 2-game losing streak, and we'll go back to 1 victory, which is something that we really do need, because Bill Standish is he's just chasing our tails, and we got to perform well if we do want to make playoffs and try to keep that #1 spot. We've kept it for this long, and we can't lose it at this moment. So the next couple games are going to be a lot of in-division games. They're going to be big games, and I think they're going to be games where we could potentially decide if we make playoffs or not, or whether we get first in our conference, or we get a wild card spot or something like that, or we're in the mix for the playoffs. So like I said before, every game is going to be really big, but down the stretch these next couple games are going to be suspenseful, they're going to be exciting, and there are going to be a lot of rematches. So be sure to watch out for that, as you know, hopefully we can try to clinch a playoff spot and try to make a postseason berth over there. Our first season in the NPCC, and playoffs would be fantastic, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves over there, and let's just take it week by week. So thank you so much for watching. You guys' support has been incredible throughout this season of the NPCC, and it's been really fun. So keep on showing your support. Smash that like button, support the Toronto SwaBlu Jays by subscribing, clicking that like button, commenting, doing all of the above and a bit more. I really do appreciate it. So I'll catch you guys next time, and we'll see what happens next week. Peace.